I'm the Amazing Atheist, and I'm laissez-faire, which is French for crispy otter bladder. What? Free market capitalism. It's an idea that's growing in popularity in the United States, largely as a reaction to the socialist policies of Barack Obama, who has implemented such draconian measures as to, well, for instance, Obama, sorry, I can't think of an example of Obama's socialism because only stupid white rednecks have the ability to perceive his socialism, and I'm only half stupid white redneck, so the invisible socialism spotting gene is actually recessive in me. Cough. Let's discuss free market capitalism, because I know that that is the hot button issue of our age, and it's the topic that's on everyone's mind. Every time you go out the door, you just hear people talking about free market capitalism. But Amazing Atheist, what is free market capitalism? I'm glad you asked, person with a strange cadence, because I'm willing to answer you. And if I wasn't, then why would I be making this video? Anyway, free market capitalism proposes a free market. What is a free market? A market without government restrictions, without any regulation. Free market capitalism is characterized by the voluntary exchange of goods and services between individuals. For instance, if I have a cheeseburger and you have a harmonica, and I want a harmonica and you want a cheeseburger, we can come to an arrangement whereby I exchange my hamburger for your harmonica, and we're both happy. You see, because I have the harmonica that I need, and you have the cheeseburger that you need. Now, the cardinal sins of laissez-faire capitalism are coercion and fraud. You see, I can't tell you I have a delicious, juicy cheeseburger, and then you get it and it's a rotten, moldy, disgusting cheeseburger, because that would be fraud. And someone needs to hurry up and tell McDonald's, because those pictures up on the wall, they don't look anything like the burgers that they actually give you. But that's neither here nor there. I also cannot put a gun to your head and say, give me your harmonica, or I will shoot you in the head and you will die from the bullet wound that the gunshot will inflict upon you. Because that would be coercion, and that's not fair. So, fraud and coercion, the only two things not permitted in a free market system. That's why free market people are against taxation, because they feel that taxation is a form of coercion. The government says, pay your taxes or we'll put you in jail, which does, admittedly, sound like coercion. Now, it's very important to understand that in a free market system, people are the owners of themselves, and they are the owners of their labor. So, they can exchange labor for goods, but they cannot be property themselves. You cannot own another human being, because that violates free market capitalism, because people are the owners of themselves and their own labor. And that is a central tenet of free market capitalism. You cannot have free market capitalism if that tenet is not in place. The idea of free market capitalism is that it's supposed to lift everyone up. It's supposed to create all this new wealth and prosperity and equality and all this great stuff without any sort of nasty big brother figure, without Thomas Hobbes's Leviathan to keep us in line. We will be peaceful and cooperative based on our own rational self-interest. And I'm gonna tell you why free market capitalism just won't fucking work. It won't work. Here's why. Let's say that you have some goods that I want, and I have some money that you want. If your goods are worth as much as my money, and my money is worth as much as your goods, then neither of us can increase our wealth by this transaction. So the question is, how can wealth disparity emerge in a free market capitalist system? I don't think it can, and I'll tell you why. The only way that either of us stands to gain anything in a free market capitalist system is if I pay you more for your product than what it's worth, or if I pay you less for your product than what it's worth. In other words, you have to scam me, or I have to scam you. Therefore, the free market is inherently incapable of generating wealth. But maybe not, because what about labor? What about trading an intangible for a tangible? Let's examine that. Let's say that you own a gas station. Your gas station makes $2,000 a day in profit. That means after utilities, after employees, after mortgage or rent, after you pay for the goods that stock your shelves, after you pay for your advertising, $2,000 a day on average is what you've got left. So you're making $2,000 a day in profit because you have a workforce. You have laborers who work under you, and they are able to prop you up financially to the point where you can make $2,000 a day. So does that mean that the free market is capable of generating wealth? No, because what is the value of labor? There is no intrinsic value of labor. The value of labor, my beloved listeners, is determined by what the labor accomplishes. For instance, if you got some guy standing in the middle of a field just going like this, his labor is worth nothing. He is accomplishing nothing. But if you got some guy standing around going like this, but he's got a hammer in his hands and he's hammering in a nail to frame a house, then his labor is worth something. It's the exact same motion, but you change the context and voila! The value of the labor changes. Both men are exerting themselves equally, but that's not what matters. What matters is what they are accomplishing. Therefore, if your gas station is making $2,000 a day, then every worker should be entitled to their fair share of that money. They shouldn't be paid $10 an hour or whatever. They should be paid based on the percentage of hours that they worked in comparison with how much money the company actually generated. If you don't pay them that amount, then you're defrauding them because you're not paying them what the value of their labor truly is. And besides, in a free market system, a gas station wouldn't be able to turn $2,000 in profit anyway, because they couldn't get away with selling their gas and other goods for that price. And I know that people aren't just paying for the gas, they're paying for the infrastructure of the company that brings them the gas and brings them little snack bars. But that doesn't matter, because you see, the only amount that you could possibly be justified in charging those people for those goods and services is the bare minimum amount of money that is needed to get that gas in their tank. Any money that you pocket as pure profit that you don't need to live on, that is unnecessary. You're charging them more for those goods and services than they're actually worth, which is a form, I think, of fraud. Now, most free marketers at this point are going to shove down my throat the idea that the value of something is determined by how much people are willing to pay for it. They'll talk about supply and demand. They'll say, you know what, if someone's willing to pay $100 for something that you manufactured for 15 cents, then that's what it's worth. That is how value is determined. Saying that it's okay to manufacture something for $1 and then sell it for $10 is like saying that it's okay for me to sell you a dime for $1 because you're stupid enough to pay for it. I mean, for fuck's sake, taking advantage of the stupidity of someone else for your own monetary gain is the very fucking definition of the word fraud. So free market capitalism ultimately results in a system where no one can get ahead because everyone can only trade things for things of equal value. It's also a system where the workers own the means of production. So, ironically, if you take free market capitalism to the most literal degree, if you really apply that philosophy across the board, what you get is Marxism. I love it. And hey, free market capitalists, I'm not saying for 1 second that free market capitalism couldn't work. I'm just saying that it couldn't work without fraud and coercion. If you introduce fraud and coercion into the free market system, then sure, then you'll have exactly what you want. A system where businessmen can basically rape, butcher, pillage, whatever they want to do, which I know is your ultimate goal, but don't sell it to the rest of us as a utopian fantasy, because it's not. Okay, now to be fair to the free marketers out there, I did come up with one way that you could make money in a free market system, and that's by selling the completely intangible. That is to say, providing services that don't actually give someone something tangible at the end of the day. That would include stuff like making YouTube videos. If someone wants to pay $1 bazillion to listen to me talk, then hey, I'm $1 bazillion richer. If 20 people want to pay $5 to listen to me talk, then I just made $100. And that's a good thing. You could also be a prostitute. Prostitutes could make profit in a free market system. As long as a prostitute is alive and has orifices, they can sell their service to folks like you. And I guess that they could accrue wealth in that fashion, and prostitutes would actually be like the highest level of society. We could have a pornocracy. We could have a big set of tits on the dollar bill and a big old ass on every coin. That'd be pretty cool. I was bored this afternoon, and I figured I could watch more House, I could go play more Mario, I could watch porn, I could play Flash games on Newgrounds, or I could destroy a cherished American political philosophy that's been growing in popularity over the years and piss off a bunch of you idiots on YouTube. So yeah, free marketers, you're stupid. I'm the Amazing Atheist, and don't make fun of my haircut. Peace! The book! You know the rest.